Now videoing. Ready? And we are on the air. Welcome, guys. Hello, Hulusi, and please introduce yourself.
Hello, I'm Resat.
Rashad.
Yes.
Hello, Rashad. From Queer Cyprus, from the northern part. So I'm so excited. Thank you very much for coming all the way from.
Well, I came from Famagusta.
I was about to ask. Aliki was asking if you came from Nicosia, and I said no, probably from Famagusta.
I came from Famagusta, picked him up from Nicosia, and we came down to
Oh,
Limassol.
right.
But I'm from Morpho.
Okay. Oh, okay. So thank you very much for joining today. We have this with the community almost every Friday. These days we're having more than once per week. The idea was to come here and find out more about what is going on the community in the northern part. I personally have no idea. Okay, and of course I have friends from the northern part of Cyprus, but I don't really know what is going on and how do you feel, guys, there. I mean, I would guess, correct me if I'm wrong, that already things are difficult for us in the south, so I would imagine that it's probably the same where you live. Please enlighten us.
Okay, so maybe we start with the establishment of the Queer Cyprus.
Yes.
So that take it
And-
from there.
And what do you do there, Rashad, right?
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. I'm Resat. I'm project coordinator of the Helix project, which is funded by the EU and implemented by the Queer Cyprus Association.
How did you call this?
Helix.
Helix. Okay.
Like the DNA, the
Okay,
helix.
all right. Okay, you gave us a nice picture. Thank you.
Yeah, and the case is that the project has three aims. The first one is to research the psychosocial effects of COVID-19 on the LGBTI society. The second pillar is creation of a resilient structure within the QCA. For these reasons, we have some workshops, trainings to create resilience of the activists, because the self-resilience is important for ongoing activism. If the individuals are not resilient enough, they cannot contribute the bigger picture.
I call it empowerment.
Well, this is the personal choice of mine as well. But for a general sense, we tend to use resilience. But yes, it
Okay.
is empowerment of individuals, definitely. And this is one of the tools of empowerment. And the third part is that we are giving so much importance to the bicommunal activities, and the project aims to increase the collaboration with the LGBTQI community in the South. So these are the three pillars. We have completed the research phase. We are expecting the draft to be released by the research team quite soon. The second part, we are still going with the plannings of some certain parts of it. And the third part will come in 2 months or so. And so we will be start collaborating with LGBTI organization in the South. If we quickly introduced Queer Cyprus Association, it is LGBTI rights organization. This is the only one in the north. It has been established in July 2007.
Okay.
Back then, an expat, a Cypriot who was living in UK, come to the island, have an affair, and the partner was blackmailing the person by saying that I will reveal your identity to the community, etc., and asking for money. And the person coming from UK went to the police and said that I'm being blackmailed by this person, etc., etc. So the person said that they're having same-sex relationship, and this is what happened. Unfortunately, he didn't know that the same-sex relations were criminalized in the north back then.
Even up to 2007.
Actually, the decriminalization took place in 2014, quite
Okay.
later than what happened in the south.
Well, I am finding out that we were forced to decriminalize
Because of EU.
because of the EU. Yes. Otherwise,
It was
I'm
the
not
same
sure.
law.
Yes.
It was
Actually,
the same
yeah,
law.
it is
The
a-
criminal law is still the same in the north. What has been applied, what used to be before EU accession of Cyprus.
And then I'm learning some unbelievable stories about what was going. Even though I was living back then, but I couldn't know everything that it was going on.
Maybe here we would like to thank to Alekos Modinos again.
Everyone, really, yes.
He is the pioneer, and he's the first one to open the court case against the Republic of Cyprus in European Court of Human Rights. Actually, we have used the same case as an example to open the court case against Turkey. In 1994, with Luizide versus Turkey case, European Court of Human Rights accept Turkey as a higher authority in relation to the human rights violations. So that's why, since the authority in the north is not recognized internationally, but the European Court of Human Rights found a way to keep Turkey responsible from the human rights violations. So we use the exact same case as an example, and that is again the same logic. The authority was forced by the European Court to do the legal changes.
But that came 10 years later.
Yeah.
2014, you
Actually,
said,
13,
right?
because the first law change in the south was 2001. Yeah.
Okay.
13 years later.
Okay. I mean, many images pass through my mind right now. I mean, because it already feels, let's say, intimidating, knowing that it was decriminalized. I think it was decriminalized in Cyprus before 2000, but then we had to some Hulusi, perhaps you know what happened.
It all has to do with the colonial laws that's been passed on through the years, and it's been there for a long time, and during the pre-accession processes of Cyprus coming into the EU, all these laws that needed to be
redundant,
changed because of
okay.
the human rights aspect, all these things that are in violation of human rights, with a view of the European Union and the acquis. Then all of this came up to the agenda and they got changed. But it took, like Resat pointed out, that it all had to change only 11-12 years later in the north part of the island, and so through a parallel struggle.
And only 10 or 12 years ago, which is actually is not a long time.
The issues that I have checked from the Google, the first part, as you said, is 1998.
Yes, I remember that it was decriminalized in Cyprus then.
Yeah, and then most likely, as Hulusi said, during the European Union membership preparations in 2001, they have...
they had to integrate something.
Yes,
I just don't remember what
discrimination
exactly.
against employment opportunities for the sexual orientation, I think. Yeah, that might be the case. So the cases that decriminalization happened in 2014.
In the northern part.
Yes, but there is no protective laws up until 2019. And the first introduction of legal code for hate speech was not so successful, and we demanded another modification, and in 2021 they enacted the existing hate speech law, which is kinda okay on legal terms. But unfortunately, when a case happens, we see that the police is reluctant to move up the process. They claim that they cannot define individuals when they are making hate speech online, but we see that when the regime is having a problem, for example, if somebody swears to Tatar, they successfully find the individuals, they find the IP, etc. So the case is that the regime is making the laws to be accepted as they want. On the LGBTI cases, we see that the law is there, but the implementation is missing. So when the hate speech is being in the agenda, we face a position that we cannot criminalize individuals especially last year in Famagusta, a person was physically attacked. Yet the process is not moving to the court, so it is not somehow penalizing the action, the force doing.
Do you know what percentage of the cases that are coming through the police end up in court?
Actually, so far, since 2001, only one has reached to the court and it has been decided.
And how many complaints were made?
As to my knowledge, it is 17.
17.
That was my next question, actually. Do you see, not just situations, do you see things like that happen often, like offensive behaviors, physical attacks, and how is it?
Especially the physical attacks happened in 2001.
2001 or
2021, when we had billboards advertisements. It was actually a time period after the COVID, and it was part of a project of the association. It was just saying, Uncle Maria, I am gay, Uncle Antonis, I am gay or lesbian, etc. So simple sentences of somebody's coming out. So it was just to showing the public that LGBTI individuals are existing. Unfortunately, the sentences of gay was changed to female, and lesbian was removed and made male, and then the advertisement billboards were attacked physically. But until last year, we were not seeing so much physical attacks to the individuals. But we always had, during the Pride Month, we always had a negative aspect from the public, especially when visibility becomes more on the media. We had the Facebook comments, etc. And unfortunately, it is not decreasing. The cases that Queer Cyprus has media reports for several years, that we have seen that the media is moving towards a positive approach to the LGBT rights issues. Before it was negative, it was even using wrong terminology, etc., blaming individuals because they are who they are. But in recent years, we see that the media is moving towards a more positive approach. They're questioning it as a human rights approach. Yet we have individuals, mainly far right, and also some of the cases, the individuals are not even living in the island. They are commenting from Turkey and blaming that the LGBT individuals are not part of the great Turkic nation, etc. So it is like a wild dream of someone's there. So it is there.
Can I ask, because I know that you are, as an association, also doing running programs for educating the authorities, be it the police or be it the teachers or the educators. How is that having an impact, do you think? Is it, do you see observe any kind of change in the right direction?
Unfortunately, I would like to say yes, but I cannot. The local body responsible from education is not letting us as civil society organization to do education towards teachers or students on school basis. So we couldn't do that. But instead, what we have done, we reach agreements with trade unions. We have 2 trade unions for the primary school and secondary school. We reach agreement with the trade unions, and we are educating teachers within the premises of the trade union. So on that sense, we are moving forward with education approach, and also we start to establish collaboration with health professionals, the medical professionals, also psychologists, and we are providing a guideline to them, what is missing in the health sector, and etc. So we are moving, but unfortunately we cannot develop the similar thing with the local body responsible with the education. So thus we cannot access to the students themselves directly. And as you know, the hardest part is, especially for the teenagers, of being LGBT in a hetero toxic atmosphere is hardest, but we cannot access. They claim that they cannot permit, and even they're not even permit us to talk about regal. So
Talk about
menstruation cycle, regal.
Okay.
So it is just against their morality understanding, etc.
Is it? I have 2 questions. The first question is, how do you how do you see uh, um, Turkey? What is the situation in Turkey? Perhaps if you have an idea, is it the same
About what?
about LGBTQ rights?
Oh.
And
Unfortunately,
how
it is,
do you get affected from them if you are? I don't know. I usually come to these in discussions without having any prior reading, just because I want this discussion be organically.
Mhm.
So yeah.
The case is that there is no organic relationship that it affects us, but it is same like you have with the Greece because of the language, the media. So it is
Okay.
kind of effect of the cultural hegemony. The case is that Turkey withdrew their presence from the Istanbul Covenant, which was protecting the domestic violence, etc., because it includes LGBT rights as well. So therefore, we can say that there is a decline of LGBT rights in Turkey, and especially with the regime there is more Islamification. So the Erdogan and its regime is always complaining about the LGBT individuals and also the community, and considering LGBT individuals as part of Eurosceptic Trojan horses that are attacking to the big great Turkic nation. So we have individuals who are getting affected through the media, but I cannot say that this is the majority of the issues. There is no direct correlation of effect. From
Okay.
So
Turkey.
are
But-
you able to say that the rights, in terms of legal rights, the north of the island is more ahead of the?
Yes, I mean not so far,
Ah.
but we have the Istanbul Covenant, we have hate crime law.
Compared to
And
Turkey,
compared to Turkey,
compared
yeah.
to Turkey,
But
okay.
compared to Republic of Cyprus, we are lagging behind because you have at the
this
moment
is-
legalization of the civil partnership. You have criminalized the therapies.
The
for-
therapies, yeah, that was last year. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
On that sense, yeah, we are better than Turkey, but lagging behind the Republic of Cyprus. Yeah.
Okay.
The case is that yet the media is still an important tool of effect, especially the series, soap operas, etc. They are not showing at all anything about LGBT presence, and especially recent years, Turkey has forced Amazon or Netflix, like these kind of international corporations, to limit their LGBT content. So they are being penalized if they have so. I mean, imagine you are paying for a special service, but they are just limiting certain aspects and claiming that it is against the moral. And very recently, for a volleyball, I think, which was US and Turkey, a woman was appearing on the TV, and they found her clothing a little bit sexist, and they just openly published a press release and by saying that, sorry, you have to see that, but we are not the part of the broadcasting. We just broadcasted what US has presented us. So it is like kind
So it's
of
like society engineering.
yeah.
How do you go it? How do you say?
It's engineering the society by
Uh-huh.
limiting the content that they watch on the TV, by censoring things that
Yeah.
reality, facts of life.
Uh-huh.
I think there's like an agenda. I think it is being taken in a wrong direction in a way that when you try to limit the things that people are able to reach, you are creating an opposite effect,
Yeah.
and people will do, because people will access to things that they want to access, and they will do it no matter what. You are creating a more reactive society. You're creating a situation where people will protest because they will go around and do it, and they will go around and experience it. They'll do. Why? You see what I'm trying to say?
Absolutely. I mean, but please go on.
In that sense, I think yes. On this aspect, I think Turkish Cypriot community is in a better position. At least this is what I'm understanding from your comments about Turkey. Of course, we have a long way to go. Because I think one of the biggest struggles is that we are a small community, and the people's perception becomes a way more important consideration point in people's opinion of each other. So
To add, what you are saying is that the case is that the Turkish Cypriot community is a secular community. So regarding LGBTI issues, we don't have a religious feedback.
That's true.
So therefore,
You don't have.
no, we don't have at all.
But you are considered a secular community.
Yes.
You said.
Yes.
Is that by constitution?
No,
No,
we
it's
don't
cultural.
have.
It's
It is
cultural.
cultural, and the state is not having any religion
Doesn't
in
have-
constitution.
the state
Yeah.
is religionless.
Yes. But the case is that since 2004 or
That's-
so, there is an Islamification process imposed by Turkish regime. So creation of more mosques, which are staying empty, etc. But by media press appearance, the religious authorities trying to say negative stuff about women's life, LGBT rights, but we have a strong feedback towards them. We have a strong opposition to these views, and they cannot have
So they-
certain effect.
So let's say in another part of the island, the church, no,
Mosque.
well, religion is not involved in such things, and they do not because this is what happens in Cyprus. Okay, you have like the communities that
Greek
the,
Cypriot.
the Orthodox Church or the that's why I said church, because church is not it's not just the mosque. It's by definition is considered the community of a religion. Okay, you have. I mean, you get to listen to many oppositions about it, and they are loud, and they promote it, and so it's not the case in the north. That's very
So
interesting.
The position of the mosque is just yet another office within the government. It's like a religious affairs office.
And it's not involved in LGBTQ.
No.
That's
No,
very
and it cannot
interesting.
be also involved in educational aspects. Also, it's totally separate. And the head of the department, I would call it. It's not even. It's not a separate institution. It's a department within the governmental body.
Yeah.
They don't have a role above anybody that is like an archbishop. It does not. It has its title as a mufti.
Muftis.
But
yes.
They don't have in the society a role to play.
Okay, I think we have reached to a very interesting point, because we are from Cyprus. Okay, the situation in the northern part is a secular state completely. We have the muftis not involved, and the mosque not involved at all in such cases. Okay, if we come now on the southern part, supposedly by constitution we are a secular state. However, I have found out, I'll tell you, Hulusi, I found out lately, and I had this discussion with Lycia as well this week. I found out lately that there is the Article 20 that it gives the right to all the religious teams or groups to get involved, to be involved in the education. Okay, but supposedly the constitution works. Okay, and where I'm getting is that I personally, and it's obvious, see the Church of Cyprus getting involved a lot in these things.
Well, isn't it the case about the Minister of Education
Yes,
getting appointed?
Yes, this is the first part that I wanted to comment, but there is also a second. It's interesting to see how the northern part is in, you've said it, worst situation, let's say, rather than the north. So I guess it's not just the religion, it's also the politics that involve matters like LGBTQ rights. Did you get my idea? Was it too complicated?
Unfortunately, it is not only about the LGBT rights. Majority of the human rights is not the priority of the regime. that is the problem.
You mean we're talking
Of the north, yeah,
of
yeah.
in
The
the
cases
northern
of, for example, as a feminist person, we have discussed gender equality department to be institutionalized in the north to oversee all the new laws, existing laws, etc. They have enacted law. The department is there, but its title, but the structure, the employees of the department is not appointed yet. So it is there. So if you look a legal
functional.
checkup, we have a department for gender equality, but it is empty. So if you make an analysis, we can say that we have a separate department of gender equality, but it is not effective.
It's only on the papers.
Yes.
Uh-huh.
The other issue is that when an issue about gender equality, human rights is approached to the MPs or the government officials, we got the response that this is not the priority. Look, we have economical issues, we have Cyprus problem, we have that, and the issue never comes to the human rights issues. The case is that majority of the time, the politicians are claiming that society is not ready yet.
Okay,
it's
all
the
right.
same-
We've heard
same
it.
discussions.
I'm not sure if you've heard, but we've heard it even from some political leaders in converted commas, commenting on saying the same things. I will be using it. This is what they say in the north as well, madam. If I ever listen to a politician says that the Cyprus society is not ready yet, I'll say yes. This is what they say in the north as well.
The issue is that what is expected from a politician to be more intellectual, to be more progressive, at least from the society. That's why we are choosing representatives. In order to represent us, they should be a little bit more progressive.
I mean, it's I think very straightforward. These kind of things, if we are talking about human rights, we all need to always go back to the beginning and say everybody is born equal, therefore they all should have equal rights. And this mentality, this perspective needs to be protected throughout the discussions, because who are we, the lawmakers or the political people, who are we to decide who gets what right as humans ourselves, when you think about it? And the second discussion point is around the idea of the society not being ready. It is actually, the question is are the laws made according to what the society thinks of something today, or are the laws made to actually progress the society to a better position?
Which I want to comment on that, because this is what, in my opinion, this is what politicians should do. This is, you need to get the society ready. It's not that, and at least I'm commenting from the southern situation. From what I see, if you keep feeding the idea that nobody is ready, then you're feeding the beast, and nobody will ever be ready. But what's your role as a politician? In my opinion, you should be the leader and guide the society accordingly.
The issue, for example, we have European Union parliamentary elections, and together with Accept, LGBT organization from Southern Cyprus, we invited the politicians to sign the pledge. International LGBTI organization Europe branch, ILGA Europe, has published a pledge for the candidates of the European Parliament, and asking them to sign it and to promise what they will do if they're elected for the LGBT rights. It is a simple text that I will contribute my efforts on enriching LGBT rights, as a small summary. We have political parties that were not signing it, and they didn't respond to the questionnaire sent by Accept CY. So it was a questionnaire of asking, what do you think about marriage equality? What do you think about child adoption? They could even just say no by declaring their position, but they didn't respond at all. And when it comes to the human rights, majority of our political parties are not even willing to talk about it. So the electorates, they should require from the parties, like, when we are voting, we want to hear them saying about the economics. We want to hear them about talking about the foreign policy. But why they are not talking about human rights? What kind of problems they are overseeing and what they are thinking about solving it? The inequalities, how they are going to implement positive action to solve these issues. We don't know. And this is, I think, a trouble of politicians. Yes, they consider that society is not ready because they are not asked by the society these questions.
They don't, yeah, that's the funny thing. And yeah, I understand what you mean. And
so we should demand more, because the case is that the politicians are there as representatives, and we are attributing certain rights to them to represent us. But if we are not following up, but we limit our request to certain agenda, then nothing will change.
What it actually, when they say the society is not ready, what they actually mean is that I cannot be bothered to talk to my electorate, those who are going to vote for me next time.
Yes.
To actually educate them about things and so to actually motivate them about things. This is what it needs to happen, and we need to do it because of this reason. They just can't be bothered. This is what it is.
it's not just that. It is what you said, but what I have at the back of my mind is that I cannot remove from my mind the thought that everyone in Cyprus is so concerned about solving the Cyprus issue. Okay, and you said it before, but we have more problems now, and we need to resolve the Cyprus issue and the economic problems.
Everything else is on hold.
And everything else is on hold. Whereas, I mean, there should be a different approach. I mean, if we start the communities, both communities start collaborating together, I guess that all the solutions will come.
Yeah.
I see myself, the Cyprus problem, as the symptom of any other issue that is
Core
not
issues. The Cyprus problem, everything else we have in front of us as a problem are the symptoms of that main problem.
And
yes.
yeah, exactly. And it doesn't let us to see the other solutions.
But when you turn
we
the
are
question,
fixated on that.
yeah, when we turn the question around and say, okay, Cyprus problem is solved, can we now finally be equal?
Yeah.
Can we now have equality in the society now? Is this what it was all about?
This is the case that I don't understand, that we are attributing a revolutionary status to the Cyprus problem.
Yeah.
And we expect that if that is solved, all our other problems will be solved as well.
Which is not, please say that again. Exactly, yes.
The case is that assuming that we sign a reunification agreement today of Federal United Cyprus, the next day we will find ourselves in another situation on how to implement the federalism. So we will need to work on that. And from the perspective, if we are really wishing to unite our island again, there is no worries to solve the basic things on the way. I mean, together. Yeah. For instance, with Accept CY, Queer Cyprus is organizing Pride Together for the 10th year. And for this action of bi-communal collaboration, the association last year won the European Parliament Citizenship Award.
I remember that, yes.
And this year, during the Pride, both organizations signed Memorandum of Understanding to deepen the collaboration. And I'm quite sure that in coming months, you will see more bi-communal events by the LGBT community across the divide. And what I'm saying is that, yes, we have the trouble there. We need to find a solution to the Cyprus problem. It is a political problem, because what we see since the crossing was opened for both communities, we don't see problem with the individuals, but we have a political issue that needs to be solved. But the daily life affairs, for instance, today we crossed from the gate, and what we see that the Greek-speaking Cypriots, or maybe Turkish-speaking Cypriots crossing to the north bank, they're having a huge line. So we can demand from our policies that how to make this crossing faster. So this wouldn't affect our daily life priorities, but it will affect our lives, the time that we spend. Or if we are including more peace building in our education, it wouldn't change much. It wouldn't appear much, but it will change a generation coming up. So what I'm saying is that yes, we are attributing a revolutionary steps toward the Cyprus solution, but we keep forgetting that the federalism, the federalist understanding, needs to be work on it.
We need to create that culture of working together
Yeah.
on different
Of
aspects
collaborating.
of life.
Mhm.
And we have got problems that are common. We can find common solutions to them by working together. Therefore, creating that synergy, creating that understanding, and understanding that when we join our forces, it is a lot more powerful.
Yeah.
Because when you are demanding the same things across the island, and you're shouting together for the same things, you're making a lot more noise, physically, and also
More impact.
yeah,
I would,
of
yes,
course,
which is
impact is
important.
huge, a
Mhm.
lot bigger, and you feel empowered because you realize that all these years we lived the parallel lives across the divide, and once that cover is up and we see each other and we are starting to exchange and we are starting to interact, and we realize actually that, well, we are also suffering from the same problems, whereas we are quite united in our problems. And because I don't know, maybe it's the Cypriot mentality that brings about all these things. I don't know.
It makes sense.
Yeah,
It makes
therefore we
sense,
can
yes.
actually find strength in our unity, which gives power to not just the one society, the whole community across the
The
island.
case that what I don't understand is that we have tried the fast areas, so we have seen what kind of stupidity that we have faced, but we haven't tried the peace. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, let's give peace a chance.
Yeah,
It's
that's
cheesy,
it,
but yeah, that is just
that-
true.
that's all. It's cheesy, but I think it's always in fashion. What I was thinking at some point, by listening to you sharing the situation in the northern part, it's that perhaps we are in slightly better situation because of the European Union. I don't think that we would be.
Yes, because like I just mentioned earlier, Cypriot mentality.
It's
We sometimes
yeah.
need to be pushed to do some things
Yeah,
in the right direction. If it was not for the European Union,
It
that is a good point to make. If it wasn't for the European Union, what kind of rights we would not have had today? Not only in the LGBT community aspect, but also other
in
areas.
many
There are
areas,
many
yes.
things that you pushed us to implement certain things.
With your permission, I agree and disagree.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, feel free. That's why we are here. Yes.
Yes, the European Union is demanding from the candidate states certain level of human rights, but unfortunately, the EU needs better tools on following up the implementation. Especially
That's
for
true,
the LGBT
yes.
rights and gender equality, we see that the Poland, Hungary, in some cases Lithuania, they are just lacking behind. But we don't see a pressure from the European Union when
Actually-
they are already entered. The case is that actually the European Parliament, together with the Commission, they have created a new strategy, and also some member states on 17th of May have signed a collaboration agreement. They are familiar with the lacking point, and I'm quite sure that in coming future we will see a more integrated approach toward this. But we have to realize that the bare minimum is not enough. For instance, now the rainbow families are not able to cross borders. When they are crossing borders, your
You
child
mean
is not your child.
checkpoints within Cyprus? I'm
No.
not sure.
No,
For
across
example, if a Finnish rainbow family arrives to Cyprus, you
To-
definitely lose your connection with your children.
You mean the northern part?
No, all of them.
I don't know that.
Let's
Okay.
say that because the European Union is not recognizing rainbow families
Across-
as European Union.
across Europe.
This is not what I know. I think as far as I am aware, this is quite the opposite. Those rights are transferred
No.
within European Union. I'm not insisting because
You're talking about
perhaps I didn't understand.
rainbow family and the kid as
Yeah.
a family unit
Yes.
It does not get recognized, for example, when they arrive to Cyprus.
Yes.
Uh,
I'm not mentioning about Cyprus, but in
there are-
general in EU, there are
it's-
countries
there's
that
no
the families are
Europe-wide
not
protection
accepted.
of that status. That's what he.
Especially
Resat is
if the
saying.
children are adopted,
Okay.
the family is not accepted as family.
Unit.
Okay.
So these kind of problems that we face, and also if the partner of rainbow family is outside of EU, then becomes a problem for the rainbow families on traveling.
But are they losing their rights? You mean?
The case is that there is no singularity on the rights of
That I know.
LGBT families, so that is
Yes.
creating difficulties for the families. That's what I'm
Okay.
trying to say.
Okay. Yes. Okay. Okay. Yeah.
And also we have to make sure that if a marriage is a marriage like the heterosexual marriages, that it is approved everywhere that you go, it should be applied for the same-sex relationship as well.
Okay.
There should be no bare minimum. It should be accepted as equal.
Yeah. Okay, I know that is not definitely equally recognized everywhere in the European Union, but I don't know. And these things they're on the details. Some details don't apply, and yeah. Okay.
This similar happens with the legal gender recognition for the trans community.
Okay.
The same applies for the intersex community as well. So the bare minimum is not what we are looking for. We need to move forwards for a
Equality
united
across
front.
the board, yeah. One comment I have for just to say, when Poland was not following up with these human rights, protection of human rights, and they enacted laws that are contrary to European Union laws, they actually suspended their support.
After 2 years.
Well, yes, but that's
Better late than
that's-
never.
Yeah, well, that's the problem. I mean, it is a problem of
Yeah.
the EU, but there are mechanisms to actually create problem for the government of that particular country if they are drifting away from the norms and the values and the principles of the European Union.
That's true. Yes.
There is that
There are
mechanism.
mechanisms and tools.
It needs to be maybe upgraded in its the way it's implemented, so that because nobody assumes, there's no assumption that yes, this European Union member country is going to bring in such laws that are going to be such in violation of human rights, so that there's not that maybe effective mechanism to deal with them. But yes, we see now that in Hungary or in Poland these things happened. Therefore, maybe the question comes to how better implement such
The case is that I'm not
measures.
Eurosceptic.
Yeah.
I see that the positive happened. But the case is that on an imaginative level, I want these actions to be a little faster.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm looking
And-
for a better way of implementing these suspensions of the help.
And I would agree with what you said earlier, actually. I mean, we see many times European Union doesn't follow up on certain situations, or even if they do for certain cases, but not in other cases. And perhaps this following up should be more constant and more often.
The case is that Fundamental Rights Agency is doing survey for the LGBT rights, and it is quite interesting to see that the LGBTI individuals are feeling more negative feeling towards their state and EU regarding the LGBT rights. Unfortunately, we don't have any information about the North because we have been excluded from the Fundamental Rights
Okay.
Agency survey. This is the sad part of our activism. Whenever we are trying to report the human rights violation taking place in the northern part of Cyprus, we always try to be equalized with the regime. We always tend to say them, look, we are not supporting this regime and we are not trying to rise its political status, but we are as Cypriots and we are as citizens of the Republic, as EU citizens, we would
Living
like
in
to
the-
report the human rights violations.
I would guess that makes your life even more difficult, guys.
And guess the
Yeah.
case is that, for example, we as Turkish-speaking Cypriots, we would like to demand certain rights from the Republic of Cyprus. But we are not allowed to.
Or make a
because-
case about
Yeah.
violations.
Yeah. And since
But you're
we are,
not allowed, you said.
Yes, because the government is having a lovely sentence. You are living under a territory which is not under our effective control. So then it comes to the question: when Israel attacked to Gaza, majority of the world states they had created certain roads to protect their citizens who were in Israel or Palestine. So it means that the border is not the case here. So if I'm having a citizenship bond with the state, I have certain rights, fundamental rights, needs to be protected, right? But when it comes to certain rights, for example, today we were speaking with Hulusi. I cannot have a mobile phone membership to any company because I don't have a resident permit in Saudi. I cannot open still a bank account. And when I claim it, I've been asking to bring an electricity bill or a municipality membership, etc. And Turkish language is a second language.
It is a part of the
It's
constitution.
yeah.
It's constitutional language.
I cannot have always any enacted law from the parliament translated into Turkish. For instance, if a law regarding drinking water from plastic bottle is enacted, I cannot have access to that law to see whether I can do that or not. And these basic things
They make a
what we
huge
are
difference.
Yes. So the case is that we are LGBTI individuals, and since we are not living in republic-controlled areas, we have certain needs. For example, especially trans community in the north, they don't have access to the hormone therapies in the north because there is no professional. We want the government to assist the trans community, but we have learned that the Turkish-speaking Cypriot, if they are not employed in the south, they cannot contribute to GESI, the health system. So, for example, I am at the moment a healthy individual working in the north. I want to have health benefits from the Republic of Cyprus. And
you don't get the option to contribute.
Yes, I cannot give contribution. For example, you are working and automatically deduct from your salary. I want to contribute according to my
Then
salary.
you don't want something free. You
Yes,
want to contribute.
I want to contribute, but I cannot.
There's no option. Yeah.
So basic things. And the case here is that it applies for LGBT rights. I'm Turkish-speaking Cypriot, so I'm not Greek-speaking Cypriot. And when I'm having a difficulty here, the other day I got a ticket penalty for having a child behind without a belt.
Where in
Larnaca.
Okay.
And I got the ticket in English and Greek. And I couldn't pay it online, and I had to go to a nearest police station, and I had to wait half an hour to find a police officer who speaks English. In order to
why you couldn't pay? There was
because
not an
my-
option to pay
because
it online.
no, it was optional. I could pay online, but my plate number was not registered in the system.
Okay, so they couldn't. All right.
And that's why I had to wait 30 minutes to find a police officer to explain that I have been to the system, tried to pay it online, but I couldn't.
But-
They had to find the solution. So what I'm saying is that, yes, we are at the moment having a de jure status that the Republic of Cyprus laws are not applicable in the north. But we are having the situation that all Cyprus is part of the EU, right?
Yes.
And we have certain rights of being Cypriot citizen, but we cannot always use those rights, and we cannot report these discriminations or lack of implementation to the European bodies in order to find solutions.
I have a question. Do you? But I know that you at least. I'm not defending at all the South.
It is not about attacking or defending.
No. I just have a question. Have you been given at least the identity? You can get the Cypriot identity.
Yes, of course.
If
You
both
have-
parents are Cypriot, yes. But if
but
one of the
then we
parents
have
are
other-
not, yeah.
Here we have
We're
other
opening a
di-
different chapter now. Yes.
So
Oh.
the case is that in the beginning, I have a friend who is getting affected from this situation. Together with me, he went to Ukraine to study. He married Ukrainian, married in Ukraine, had 2 kids in Ukraine. But unfortunately, the children are not accepted Cypriots, and there is no official explanation. So the government is refusing to give any official document as a response why they are not able to take the citizenship. The babies are offered birth certificates, but when you apply for having the ID card or passport, that pink paper is the only thing that you have on your hand, and you don't have any response why your ID or passport is not ready yet. And this has been
Okay.
brought to the court as case. So this is definitely against the constitution.
So there is no such a thing, any relation of any sort of kids being born in the north?
The case is that what they claim is the mother has arrived to the island prior to the marriage from the unrecognized ports. That is the claim.
But they're born in Ukraine.
Yes, but the mother has arrived to the illegal regime from illegal airport before the marriage.
What has that got to do with the kid's birth?
Well, this is not.
So they met in Cyprus?
No, they met in Ukraine.
They met in Ukraine?
Yeah.
At some point in her life, she came to Cyprus.
Yes,
and
from Ercan.
Went to Turkey, went to Ukraine again.
Yes.
Gave birth to 2 kids, and those kids are not getting citizenship.
Yes, they only have birth certificates. The case is that I can understand the political. The case is that I can understand the political sensitivity of the Greek political elite when one of the partners are from Turkey, and the children are born in the north, etc. So I cannot understand it, but I can understand the way they are moving on. But when you claim that we don't recognize the north, that's why we don't accept the babies. But these babies are born on a country where you recognize. So what is the trouble? Then you don't have the answer. So it is just the political ambiguity. You see what I'm saying?
It's a gray area.
For example,
It
if
really shouldn't be a grey area. It should be quite a black and white situation because.
But they treat it as a gray area. That's what I get.
For instance,
That
for
is what
example,
I mean.
I can give you. I lived in Estonia, and Estonia has a bit difficult citizenship law. What they say is that if you want to become Estonian citizen, you have to at least learn the language of 600 words and be educated about the Estonian culture.
Or
And-
you can pay.
No, you don't. You don't. In Estonia, you don't pay.
But
That's
I-
in Cyprus then.
No. I know that they are actually offering the Estonian citizenship
Estonia.
by yes, but there are some investment.
Estonian citizenship, e-citizenship.
E-citizenship.
That
This
is not the citizenship.
Okay, it's okay.
You can establish e-citizenship and you can have a company
Yes,
without
this is
stepping
what
to
I
the
know.
Estonia, but it is not a citizenship.
Okay, so it's different. So and you do not enjoy all the.
No. You
okay.
have a Estonian ID card that you can digitally open a
Okay,
company
and
etc.,
operate
but
your
you cannot
company.
vote. So what
Mhm.
I'm saying is that if certain laws, for example, if the government decide that a Cypriot marrying to a third-party country cannot get citizenship and it applies for everybody equally, I can understand that. It is a government policy. I might question its legitimacy from individual level, but if it is applied to everybody, I can just relate to
Yes,
that.
of
But
course.
these are the discrimination cases that we face. Basic thing, the Turkish language that we want. The Volt Party recently proposed a legal change. For instance, if you are an architect and you want to be member of the architect board, because you don't speak Greek language, you cannot become architect. You cannot use your signature. It applies for the engineer, it applies for the medical professional, etc. I am sitting here as an example. Since my diploma of bachelor degrees from the north, I won't be accepted as PhD in the south. I cannot teach in this university because my bachelor is in from the occupied zone. So the trouble is that I can relate that the university is in the regime which is not recognized by the south. Yeah. But what about my personal individual human rights? Living under occupation is not my personal choice. And then the government is saying, okay, you are welcome to live in the south.
Yeah, why would you want to do that?
No, I mean, if I want to,
Why
where's my...
but our family is 100 or 200 years in Famagusta. Our family house is in Famagusta, for example. Why do I need to move to another part of the country just so that I can enjoy the rest of my citizenship?
And besides,
rights?
I mean, you gave a valid point earlier. Supposedly the whole island is a part of the EU, so that
The
makes
case is that
another
assuming
point.
that I decided to come to South, I'm a high school graduate, having no knowledge about Greek, how I will be employed and process my life in the areas controlled by the state. So the moving to the south is a kind of the grade of my life quality. Yes, I might get certain aspect of my citizenship right, but I lose some others. For example, my education, my career.
Yes. Okay.
If everything was like, if all my educational degrees accepted and I could find a job, why I should stay in the political regime that I'm not supporting. but the things are not in a way that simple.
That's straightforward. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I think. Listening to you speaking about, I mean, it's not that I didn't know, but it's a different situation when you hear someone explaining how
We
the whole.
The more we talk, the more we come again down to the understanding that yes, Cyprus problem has impacted our lives in so many different ways that is beyond our control and beyond our choices. No matter what we decide to do with our lives, it's impacting it all the time on a daily basis. And the Turkish Cypriots, especially living in the northern part of the division, are experiencing the effects of the invasion as it goes on a daily basis in many aspects of our lives. So yes, the border, the division line happened to be where it is now. That's why we ended up in the north part of the island. If you think of it that way as well, some people did move from the south. Some people were already there anyway, and that part ended up being the northern part now. It's not by choice people are there. Therefore, what Resat is saying exactly, I understand and I agree, because if the question comes down to if the Republic of Cyprus sees the citizens, Turkish Cypriot citizens, as their citizens, there should be more sort of openings. There should be more sort of avenues of communication or interaction.
Absolutely. I mean, this is one of the things that I think myself, just as and I have been thinking. I mean, all this. When did the first checkpoint open?
2003.
Was it 2003? I mean, and it's been already 20 years. 21. Okay. I mean, I think that there have been 23 years of missing opportunities for these two communities to come closer, if you ask me. This is what I think. Every day should be working towards this. Yeah, I mean, this is the way I have it in my mind, at least.
The cases that at Cypriot communities we are making a big mistake. I would like
the
to.
Cypriot what?
As Cypriot communities, we are making a big mistake.
You mean both of us?
Both of us, yes,
communities.
both communities.
Yes.
The case is that we are leaving this solution to the political elite, and we are expecting them to solve it, but not realizing that we are the ones who are electing it. I would like to exclude Walt from this comment. The case is that for a political research that I have done, I realized that parties from north and south, regardless of their geographical location, they're not having information available on their websites. Some of them even not have any English website, only in one language. And we are expecting each other to find a political common ground. For example, majority of the parties are only in single language. They're making a policy. Maybe if I would know the policy, maybe I will support their policy. But since I have no access
you don't have
to
access,
it, I don't know what they're thinking.
And then you don't have the information, and then this is how you make choices, and
Exactly.
then this goes like.
What we are doing since 2003, when the gates open, we have a personal, individual relationship across the divide. But when it comes to information, official information, we are stuck with the national news agencies, which are following the government's position, so-called Republic of Cyprus, so-called TRNC, but we don't have access to direct wording. For example, I checked DC's website. It is the government now. DC has no English, no Turkish website. They are asking Turkish Cypriots to vote for the EU parliamentary elections, but I have no clue what they're asking.
What is it about?
Etc.
And I want to.
Similar with DIPA, etc. AKEL very recently opened a Facebook page, and they're having certain limited amount of information on their website. But Volt has everything in trilingual.
I wanted to comment on that because I see things. I see things as I live in Limassol. Okay, obviously, if you live in Nicosia, perhaps it's closer to have this sort of communication with the Turkish Cypriots, but it's not the case with people in Limassol. And you know, we are in Cyprus, and everyone if you want to, you need to travel, and I don't think it's so okay. It's easy to come and go from Nicosia to Limassol every day, but what if you live in Paphos? I don't think that the whole island is accessible. I don't think it's easily accessible, if you ask me.
The
Okay,
cases
there
that
are
I
no
support
trains.
you.
There are no public transport. Okay, so I still need to use my own transportation to go, although it's a small island. Okay, but then it's not so conveniently accessible for various reasons that I said. So it still, even though the checkpoints are opened, it still limits this to the people in Nicosia. This is where I wanted to get at.
I agree with you. An upcoming research which is not published yet, I got the information that a young generation in Bafos, they don't consider Turkish invasion as a problem, because they said, I'm going to recall what I have heard, that when they are not in Nicosia or certain parts of Limassol, they don't see the flag on the mountain, so
Okay,
it's not
so
part
they,
of their
they
daily
don't
life.
they don't feel
If they,
threatened.
if they don't see it, it doesn't exist.
Yeah. That's
So I agree
so
with you.
they don't
Yeah.
feel threatened. You mean? Okay.
Unfortunately,
But I think this is the other side of the coin. I mean, unfortunately, yes. It's if you see, if you're in Nicosia, perhaps you can see the checkpoints and you see, oh, sad situation, blah blah blah. But then, if you open up a little your mind, then you have the chance to cross, and vice versa, and then to get to meet people and realize that we are all Cypriots at the end of the day.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. This is how I think.
Yeah. The issue is that the case is that regardless of our location, we are Cypriots and we have gone through a trauma.
Yeah.
We have
Definitely.
experienced the war, and the case is that we have to realize that if we continue with this method, it is dangerous for both of us,
This is
both communities.
This is it, you reminded me that there was also something else that I wanted to comment. We are not considered the most innovative nation in the world. Okay, you Hulusi said something earlier, and I kept it in my mind. I forgot to mention it. And yes, now you commented on that, and I think it's related somehow. We rely on what other people they will tell us to do, and then we have been sometimes defined as passive nation as well. But these things need to change. Otherwise, we are still in this loop, or continuously having the same issues, the same problems, no resolving, and that's what keeps us back from the future.
I want to say one thing for my Greek-speaking compatriots, is that the demographic situation in the north is changing massively.
How do you mean? You mean in
Import
terms
of
of
settlers.
quota? Okay, yeah.
Import of settlers, and the issue is that Turkey is clearly doing acts against Geneva Convention. After the war, they're just moving so much population, and the puppet regime is offering so much citizenship to this population. And the fear that I have, if we cannot find a solution soon enough, half of the Cyprus will not be ours anymore. The Greek-speaking Cypriots will be neighbors with the Turkey, and what we see from the international sphere, the invasion of South Ossetia by Russia, invasion of Russia by the Ukraine, we have to keep in mind that as Cypriots, if we are not defending our country, we will lose some part of it. So we have to realize that we might have little political difficulties, differences, but at the end the land is there, and we are just letting it go and taken by somebody else.
Just because nobody is bothered to find a solution.
Yeah, I always say this, Cypriots are a little bit short-sighted.
Yeah.
We don't look beyond much, and we are so busy
With being Cypriot-centered, we think that world is turning around us.
Yes, and we're so busy with our little problems, we're failing to see the bigger picture, the greater good that finding a solution of to the Cyprus problem would bring to everybody across the island, and actually sit down and think a little bit and say, we better solve it now and soon, so that actually we stand the chance of enjoying this whole island and turn it into a paradise that it can be and it should be for everyone's sake. And I think that's where I end up saying yes, we are short-sighted, and we do not have the I don't know. It remains in words sometimes. I think when I think about it, people's wishes about the good wishes about the country, but what are we doing about it? What do we want to happen? What we want not to happen? When they ask this question, people are like, "Well, I'm happy as I am."
I don't know.
If-
I have these questions myself sometimes. I mean, not all. It's a combination of things apparently. Things are hidden in certain important information. You have mentioned earlier, Rashad, that you can't find information in Turkish about the south. I can't find information. I can no seriously. I see it as a problem. It seems that for some reason the important information are kept for there's a small group that they have access to it, and so that they, I don't know, they can do their businesses, or they can move the strings, or yes, and this is, and honestly, I'm telling you, it's, I have the same feeling, even though I was born and raised in the southern part, that important information are kept secret as a secret, or you need to ask someone, and if you know that someone that they will give you the information, then your job will be done.
It's who you know.
It's who you
Yeah.
know. Yes,
Nepotic relationship.
it's yeah.
Unending Cypriot
How
dream.
similar we are, right? When you
Yep.
think about it.
Is it the same in the?
Of course it is.
Yeah. I hope that we are. I hope that we are in. We have. I have a feeling that we have switched era, and we have gotten into a different, I don't know, energy levels, let's say.
I always say this: we are quite a well-traveled nation.
Yes.
We lived abroad, we got educated abroad, we have families abroad, we go and see them, they come over. We have such a good connection with the rest of Europe. We see what Europe is like, we see the society or the standards of living, how everything is. But when we come to Cyprus, we don't do it for ourselves. I ask the question, why? Why?
That's
And especially, I don't understand the Cypriot expats who are living in UK. They are having quite nice Cypriot bonding, but when they are coming to the island, they are just becoming the ultra nationalists.
I don't know. Is it something with? I don't know. Is it the soil or what? I don't know. I don't know what it is. Is it? I think. I mean, I'm not just saying this now. I have the same concerns and thoughts most of the times. Why, when we come back, coming back to the LGBTQ rights, for example, why everyone, when they travel abroad from Cyprus, they express themselves differently sexually.
Couple.
Yes. And when they come back in Cyprus, no, we need to demonstrate our heterosexual aspect. I don't know. That's.
It's what I said earlier. I think is the key thing to this, because being a small society, people say, what will the others think? What will the others say? We still have that. I see it at least within the Turkish Cypriot community.
Okay, but I'll tell you something, because it's one of the comments I listen to a lot, and they say, but we're a small island and we're a small population.
Malta is also small.
Yes, I had examples of Malta in my mind. It's almost small. What I would.
Education, maybe?
But supposedly 95% of Cypriots, they have master's degree from the best universities. I don't know. I mean, I'm talking about the data that I know from the south, but I guess it's more or less the same. So it's not education. It's something else that we need to find out and deconstruct. Why do we keep feeding this sort of mentality that it doesn't serve anyone at the end? And yes, I don't know if you perhaps. You have an idea, because I can't find. I tried. I was thinking that perhaps it's religion, but I don't think it's also only
The
religion.
case is
After
that Malta
after
is
this,
so religious with the Catholic Church, and they had quite annoying laws that they were not allowing the abortion. And very recently, they have realized that religious is different thing and human rights is different thing, and they're leading with LGBT rights now.
so it's something.
It's not
else.
religion. No, no,
It's
no.
not religion. Is it? So is it politics? Is it? I don't know.
Definitely the will of the individual.
The will.
If you have the will to change it, yes. Desire.
Desire.
Yeah.
So what came first, the
Egg.
the readiness of the community or the laws? That's where I think we end up.
Chicken
Well, I think
or
everything.
egg.
Yeah.
I think it's a working. Everything is a work in progress. And as you said, I mean, European Union is they have the mechanism to do things. But if you do not follow up, then nothing will change. And I guess that yes, this is something that we should do. And yes, we are 15 minutes past 6. It was
went fast.
yeah. Honestly, I didn't realize it was. We still have some time if you want to move on, but I'll leave it up to you.
Thank
If you have any final comments,
I have to, yeah, yeah, please.
I would like to thank you for the invitation. It was nice chatting. So I would like to say again hi to the compatriots who are listening to us. Thank you.
thank you very much for coming.
Thank
It
you
was a
very
pleasure
much.
meeting you. Thank you, Hulusi, for driving.
Thank you for the
Resat,
invitation. It's been a
and,
lovely chat, lovely
yeah.
discussion.
Uh,
Yeah, maybe
we
on
haven't-
another occasion.
We'll have some more time.
We have a lot more to talk about by
Yeah.
the looks of it on different topics, so
Yeah.
it'll be lovely.
But I think it was a great discussion, and honestly, I mean, personally, I got important information. It's anyway important to have this discussion between the two communities, and I would love to see more people from the northern part visiting Limassol, because, as I said, it's not so convenient.
The case is that I'm happy to see the Limassol grads. Thank you.
Oh, yeah, thank you for that.
I seen a post that Dobro pożałować w Limassol grad. So what can I say?
But I can't comment on that. You're right. Even we say that. Yeah, everyone says that.
No, I'm just kidding. I like the Russian president on the island as a Russophone. Yeah.
But Russian presence is everywhere, I
Yeah.
guess. But it's just more dominant in Limassol
Yes.
for obvious reasons.
Yes.
But I don't think that even that we take it into a proper account and proper use, if you ask me. Because, yeah. But let's leave that for another discussion.
Great.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much. Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Hulusi.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
Resat. Thank
Thank
you.
You had to